How did we attract our audience?
All horror films need to keep the suspense high and climaxes to a minimal.
Our opening consists of the audience questioning whether the main actress is the killer or the victim and whether this alludes to more deaths throughout the film.
And what about the music?
The music we chose fits conventions of horror films in some ways but opposes them in others. Its upbeat tempo and fast melody generally don't belong in horror films, but the low drone and questionable crescendos throughout increase pace and add a sense of tension to the final piece, all building up to the conclusion that the character is dead.
Horror films, however, are a lot more versatile in their music options, due to the amount of subgenres horror has. A slow dramatic soundtrack could be used,
such as the iconic soundtrack of Jaws, which echoes the shark's slow yet calculated movements, or a faster tempo soundtrack for murder scenes or fight scenes.
What about mise scene?
The stereotypical colors for any horror films are black and red. The color black to signify the darkness, emptiness and sense of feeling alone. Red to connote death, blood, gore and murder.
Because we wanted the opening to make the audience question the life of my character, we decided to go against conventions and use high-key lighting and bright areas in the allocated location of the forest.
Simple colors were used for the characters' costumes in order to emphasize the brighter colors in the inanimate objects, yet again emphasizing the immobility of the dead character.
What about camera?
We chose to use close-up shots of the actress in order to create tension in the opening. With the young female characters being murdered, in many horror films, it relates to the generic horror subgenre of single-quote-the girl in pursuit. In the opening,
with the young female characters being murdered, in many horror films, it relates to the generic horror subgenre of single-quote-the girl in pursuit.
All horror films need to keep the suspense high and climaxes to a minimal. The longer something builds in suspense, the more engaged the audience becomes with the plot line, and an engaged audience is an entertained audience. These different aspects when filming helped us to attract our audiences, especially through the sound, because it was testing the horror conventions.